What's up, guys? Chris Simmons here with Manstrations, GameManstrations.com. I want to do a very quick review of Trese. Trese. I'm not entirely sure how you say it, and they said it about a million times in the show. I believe it's Trese, which is a new Netflix original anime based off of a comic that is from, I forget, and I meant to look it up, and I forget. But it's a manga or I think it's actually technically a cartoon, a comic book out of the Philippines, maybe? I don't recall, but anyway, I saw the preview, the teaser on Netflix the other day, and it just came out, just dropped like maybe yesterday, the day before. It's pretty good. I would say it's solid. It's a solid cartoon. I would probably give it on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 stars, whatever you want to call it. I would probably give it a 3.5 to a 4. It's not overly compelling. The story itself isn't overly compelling, but it's entertaining. The animation is really well. Let's go over the pros. The animation is clean. I would say it's not quite as good as, say, Castlevania, another Netflix and adaptation or original, but it's probably on par with something like Invincible, if you've seen that over on Amazon Prime. It's very clean. It looks good. The fight scenes are decent. The story itself is a little convoluted, but not bad. It's an interesting story. It's kind of, it's sort of like a detective, almost like a detective or a police story using supernatural elements, very Castlevania-like. And, there's vampires. They mention like mermaids' bones, and there's like minotaurs, and there's different supernatural elements. Now, because this is based out of, again, I'm going to say the Philippines. That might not be right, but because it's not based out of the United States or Japan or, other areas of the world, they use mythology from that region, so they use different names for things. So I'm probably not using the exact names that they say in the comic or in the cartoon itself. But there's like these minotaur-like dudes. I guess they're not really minotaurs. No, I guess they are minotaurs. I'm thinking centaurs. They are like minotaurs. But anyway, that's beside the point. There's a lot of different mythology in it that's related to the region, and it makes it interesting. I mean, there's definitely like vampires. They call them something else, but that's basically what they are. And so it's pretty good. So pros: animation's clean. It's an interesting story. I'm good. There could be some spoilers. I'm going to try not to give you any spoilers, but spoiler alert just in case. Basically, the story is there's this woman, Alexandra Trese, who has become the Lacan, which, again, I probably should have looked up before this video, but it seems like it's kind of like a magical or spiritual leader, a very powerful magic user, who in this case is tasked with keeping the accords that her father, the previous Lacan, had set up with the various tribes of the supernatural world within this comic world. And so she spends most of the show kind of solving crimes, and there's always a supernatural element to it, and some of the stories are pretty interesting. But the overarching story is about the god of war in this mythology, basically trying to destroy the world. So that's kind of the overall theme of season 1. And it's interesting. Like I said, they don't do a great job of explaining the backstory or the main story as well as I would like to see. Season 1 was pretty short. I mean, I watched it last night in about 3 hours. So I don't remember how many episodes it was, but it didn't take long. Each episode was like 20, 25 minutes. And, there were only like 10 or 15 maybe. It just didn't take that long. It was about 3. I think I sat down at about 8 o'clock and I finished it at about 11. So it really didn't take that long. And I think they set up a season 2. So we'll see if it gets renewed. But it was definitely worth watching. It's pretty quick. It's one evening's worth. I binged it all the way through. And it's fun to see. The main protagonist is a woman, which I know some people seem to have a problem with. I thought it was fine. It made sense. She was kind of a badass. And so I was totally cool with that. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I would say it was, if you don't have anything to watch, you're in between shows, you're waiting on the next episode of Loki, or you're waiting on some more adaptations on Netflix or whatever. You don't have you've watched everything on Crunchyroll. It's definitely worth a watch. It's different. It's very similar to like a Castlevania. I know I've said that like 3 or 4 times. The animation isn't the same, but it's a very similar kind of feel to it, with differences. I mean, it's not the same thing for sure, but it's definitely in that kind of vein, of mythology and it's humans versus the supernatural and those types. So I would definitely say it's worth the watch. I would give it, if you like, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's an anime. If you like anime cartoons, it's definitely worth your time. For a couple of hours, it was entertaining. I never got bored. Like sometimes I'll watch shows and I'll find myself just on the phone, missing out on most of what's going on because it's just so boring. But I didn't find that at all. It was pretty fast paced. Each episode was fairly decently paced and with enough action and enough backstory to kind of keep it interesting. I felt like it was rushed. They probably needed a couple more episodes or longer episodes to kind of give it more life, more background, more to make it more interesting. I just think they kind of rushed through a lot of the relationships and the why behind the plot itself. And that might have just been a restriction based on, how many episodes they were going to be allowed to have and all that kind of stuff. But I wish they had taken a little bit more time to kind of set things up. I just think it was kind of rushed. But all in all, I would definitely say it's worth your time. It's a solid, like I said, 3.5, 4 out of 5, something like that. A B. It's an average. It's an average adaptation, but it looks good. So definitely check that out if you have the time. Not something to rush to check out, but worth checking out. So anyway, that's the quick review. If you like the review, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to bring you more reviews soon. Thanks. Peace.